that Chris asked for.
We're live. That's all right. I was just making sure it all worked. So, come on over. Oh, hello. Hi. Oh,
You're up high today.
I'm a what?
You're up high.
I am up high. I was trying to match you. Hi.
Hello.
Welcome to our YouTube Live. We try to do this before every race, just in case anybody has any questions. So we're available to you. You can ask away any thoughts, any concerns. We are here to answer. You just pop them into the chat, and if we don't see anything, we'll go over some of the frequently asked questions.
Yeah.
And if anything jogs your memory, feel free to add it in. And we will also have this live afterwards if anybody wants to reference it. But we're always available to you to answer any questions that you might have.
Yes, we got the chat pulled up right now, so feel free to type anything into the chat, and we will answer them. I'm going to share this real quick.
I have no idea what you're doing, but I'm fascinated by this.
Instagram.
Oh, all right, cool. Do you need a little holder for that?
No.
Oh, all right, sorry. All right, so as you may know, I'm Susan. This is Cameron. We will be on course to help you as you make your way through 13 miles around Jamestown. Everybody asks, like, what is your favorite race? And I say it's always like trying to pick my favorite child. Every race is different and special. My child. And we love them all for very different reasons. But I love Jamestown. The last 2 years we've had rain though, and you don't get to enjoy Jamestown like you should although it is still beautiful. I mean, you can't help it. It's a gorgeous course. But it's just nicer when it's sunny out. I think it's supposed to be sunny this weekend though, right? The weather right now looks pretty decent.
Looks good, but
yeah.
You don't want to speak too much.
You're right. I don't want to say that out loud. Sorry. So it's 13 miles around Connecticut Island. We are the only half marathon in Jamestown. We are very gracious, very thankful to the town to let us do this. They do cap the race, which is why we've been sold out for, I think we have maybe 5 spots left because there's been a lot of deferrals and transfers and things like that in the last few days. But the town of Jamestown does cap the race because they are, they like their municipality. So we respect that. Do you have questions?
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
I have questions.
All right, sounds good.
All right, so I'm going to ask a couple of questions that we tend to ask for every race. We hear all the time, comes in on the email, stuff like that. But like I said earlier, ask the questions in the comments, and we will do our best to answer them. First, bib pickup. Time, locations. Where is the bib pickup? Saturday, Friday. Talk a little bit about that.
Sure. So bib pickup is Friday, Roadrunner 5 to 7, and then Saturday morning there is race day bib pickup, and it opens at the race goes off at 7. I think we open at 5 that day. I forget, but we will have race morning bib pickup. What we recommend is if you are planning on picking up early, please arrive early. This is a smaller race for us. It's only 400 people. So it is pretty easy for us to get everybody checked in. The checking in process isn't the hard part. It's parking. And not that parking in Fort Getty is hard, but it does get very congested. Leave yourself plenty of time. It's a very narrow entryway to get into Fort Getty, and the town is very specific about where we can park everybody. So we actually have a professional parking company helping us park everybody this year. So please park in the assigned lots. Very, very important. The parking company will be there, but those are our only allocated lots for the day. That part does take a little, and it is a little bit of a walk from the cars to the start. So just leave yourself plenty of time for that.
Yeah, and it's important to make sure you're listening to those parking people, because that is one of the biggest issues we've had in the past with the people of Jamestown. So just listen to them. They're going to speak clearly and tell you what to do, and trust what they're doing is correct.
Yes. So the Fort Getty is a very popular fishing spot for the locals of Jamestown, so we do want to make sure that we give them access to that.
Yes. Next, I know you already talked about it, but how many people are we at right now?
400 people.
We are at 400.
Yep.
All right. So what time does the race start? And you already talked about it a little bit. What time do you plan on getting there, would you say?
Well, the race starts at 7 a.m. Early stars, and we just sent an email out this morning. Again, the town of Jamestown is very specific about what time we have allocated to us. So it is a hard cutoff of 3:30, 3 hours, 30 minutes. If you need more time, you can start early. That is at 6 a.m. Again, that is only for people who need extra time, not so that you can finish a race and get off to the rest of your day. You will be disqualified if you finish earlier than 2.5 hours. And if you are behind that cutoff, we are instructed to make sure we follow the last runner and the roads are picked up ASAP. So there will be a truck following you, kind of hurrying you along, because that is our restriction from the town. So yeah, again, plan on arriving at least an hour before the start of your race to make sure we can get everybody parked, you can get into Fort Getty, and you have plenty of time to get warmed up.
Okay. So I was going to talk a little bit about the early start. How can people like get that option for the early start? How do they select that through their registration?
Sure. So what happens is every time that you registered, we ask for your expected finish time. If your expected finish time was 3 hours and 15 minutes, you are automatically assigned into the early start. This is to make sure that we get everybody off the roads by 3:30. That email went out this morning. There's nothing more that you have to do. You just have to report to the timer about 10 minutes before the 6 a.m. start time. She'll write down everybody's bibs and make sure she gets everybody. You're still going to have a score, an official time. You're still going to have everything that you normally have. It gives you a little bit of a buffer to make sure that you're finished on time. If you are starting early, the race course will be set up because of the way it's a super easy course for us to set up because it is a big loop. These guys should be well ahead of the 6 a.m. start time. So the course will be marked, but just be aware that, it's not the mass start that we normally have. Be mindful of where you're going. Like you're coming down Fort Getty Road, you're going to go left, around Mackerel Cove, and then up through Hamilton. So just be cognizant of the course so that you know it.
So we got our first question coming in. Patrick Dixon, thank you for the comment. Once we are race complete, will we have to wait for the road to Fort Getty to reopen, or will one lane be closed?
So you do not have to wait for Fort Getty to be open. The road is open the entire time. But yes, we do. So what happens is on the way in, don't we do this? Like on the way in, we just set the cones up on the side of the road. So the access line the access in and out of Fort Getty is open all day long. Fort Getty's nice because it's a nice big, once you get past the stone wall, it's a nice big wide road. So we do run, and this is important for the runners, run inside the cones, please, on Fort Getty. So not just the runners, but the residents can get in and out, stay inside those cones through the entire race. Another thing that the police ask us to reiterate very often. So yes, you will still be able to get out.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about the age group awards. What are the age group looking like, and what are the awards?
So the awards are like we always do our cutting boards and our races. They seem to be super popular, so we tend to keep those because everybody seems to love them. This race is, because it's only 400. I'm definitely an old school runner. I believe awards should be competitive. So we only award the first place in each age group. Oftentimes it's not a big race, so it should be a competition. Okay. That's my thing.
So for people still on the edge, so you said that we were close. Is registration still open?
We had last I looked, we had like five bibs left.
So how long will that stay open till? Like if they don't get filled, will it stay open on race day?
Yes, but don't show up at the race site expecting to get a bib. Sign up at home, see if they're available. But I would imagine they would. Tomorrow's our cutoff for our transfers and deferrals, and generally we have a large amount of people that transfer once that deadline hits. So there might be a few more open. Register at home. We'll have a bib waiting for you when you arrive.
Okay. My favorite part. What is the post-race festivities looking like? Anything special?
Actually, not for this race, only because we are capped by the number of cars that we can have at Fort Getty. So we do tend to eliminate some of our normal amenities, which is, our post-race massage won't be there. We won't have pacers. This is so that we can allow for more participants because the race does sell out every year. I mean, even at 5, that's really not a lot. But we do, we do eliminate some of that. There's still like our normal food, our awards, merchandise, things like that. But some of the other, so we'll have our PR bell, we'll have our photo op, all our Roadmaster swag will be there. So that's all still there. But anything that requires more personnel, we generally do not have.
Okay. So as someone who's seen the course many a times throughout the years, do you have special spots throughout the course that you like the best, or maybe the most scenic?
I feel like we should share this one, what my favorite spots and what your favorite spots are. Okay. My favorite is mile 3, when you come down into Jamestown, into the harbor. And my second favorite part, which is probably the runner's least favorite part, is like mile, 10, 11, where you're coming down the hill and you see like the Belted Galway cows and the estuary, and you can see like the Pell Bridge And I just find like that, and the windmills right there, I just feel like that's a
Mm.
beautiful spot on the course.
Yeah, those are definitely the two most scenic, in my opinion.
Yeah.
As someone who was out there yesterday.
Oh.
So, are there any major changes from last year's race? Any big switch ups or anything?
Not at all. No, same
No?
course as last year.
Smooth sailing. That's
Yeah.
lovely. So
You
how?
now you said that out loud. I feel like you don't say things like that out loud before a race.
I know I don't. So how has the local community been involved in the planning and the execution of this race?
Good question. We do actually have a lot of Jamestown residents running this race, which is always great. The police have been fabulous. I mean, they certainly are. Again, residents. It's a very small community. They understandably don't like to be disturbed that much. We get that. We totally do. So we have made a lot of changes in the last few years as far as getting it more off the road, which we really like that new change, the one that goes past Lawn School. And it was a lot safer too than going right up through like the Cumberland Farms area. They've been really great in working with us and helping us make a really secure course and finding a balance between the race and the residents. And I was in the coffee shop one morning before the race actually started, and they were saying how nice it was to have a little bit of excitement once the rush of the summer is over, and it does fill the coffee shops and things like that. So they do like that part of it. But just stay inside the cold lanes, give access to like the residents to their hometown. So.
And I mean, as we've gone throughout this YouTube live so far, you've kind of already touched on it, but what does the timeline look like if you had to lay out a timeline for the runners?
Sure. So we get what time do we get there? Like 3 a.m., 4 a.m., something like that. We get it all set up. The early starters will go off at 6 a.m. The rest of the race goes off at 7 a.m. First runners we usually expect back at like 1:15, 1:20. And then we have to be out of Fort Getty, and this is another reason, because they have a wedding that afternoon. So we will be packed up and out of there by 11 o'clock. So again, another reason to make sure that you start early. If you want to finish under the finish line, you want to get a medal, you want to get a shirt, we have to have everybody in by 7, 8, 9, 10:30. And we pack up really quickly as a result, but there is a wedding at Fort Getty in the afternoon. We do have to be up and out. Also be mindful of like where you put your trash. We'll have the gel buckets at every mile marker like we usually do. Again, beautiful community. We try and make it very easy for you just to hang on to whatever trash you might have, particularly those gels. They are the bane of our environmental existence. Put them in at least near the gel buckets and we'll clean them up for you, but just don't drop them, kind of randomly all over the road. It's the gels packets are just not a good sustainable option, but there really isn't another option for those.
That's a very good point, that last point.
Yeah.
So we've kind of fired through all of my questions. Obviously, we only have a couple left, so make sure you comment them down below. If you have any question is a good question, don't be afraid to ask.
What's your favorite part of the race? I never get to ask you questions like this course.
I don't know.
I know what your least favorite. There's always roadkill in the morning that we have to clean up.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the least favorite part. I don't know what it is about this race, but there seem to be a lot of roadkill in the road.
Well, like you said, that mile 3 down by the water there is always very nice. Can be a little bit windy in the morning, but I think the cool breeze can be nice. I don't know. I think Jamestown's nice for the open roads. It's a beautiful little spot, Jamestown. It's a nice town. The golf course. I always love running by a golf course, of course. So that's a nice golf course they have here. So
it is
probably
nice
the golf course.
Yeah.
So any advice for the runners as the race director?
It is a bit hilly. I don't think it has like the steep hills that you would see in some other races. It's more like a gradual hill. But you run around the island, so you're kind of going uphill at the top, and then you come downhill through the harbor, very flat on like, I'd say from like mile 3 all the way around to like mile 8 is, pretty flat. There are some rollers, but really nothing too bad. Like around mile 5, there's that little incline. And then really like 6, 7, right to 8, that's all flat on that back half. And then once you hit 8, you're climbing up a bit. You flatten out by the underpass. Then you kind of climb up around 10, down towards 11. Then it's pretty flat, like 11, 12, and then down into Mackerel Cove a little bit. Is Fort Getty, there's a bit of a climb back into Fort Getty and then a downhill out of Fort Getty. So
that last climb into Fort Getty could probably be a little troublesome at the end of the race.
Hopefully no puddles that we have to dodge, because that has been an issue the last few years. So
yeah, I think a nice thing is it's always with traffic pretty much running the whole time.
Sounds good.
Yeah, so that's all we got. For questions, that's all I had. We fired through all my questions pretty fast. If you didn't get a chance or you're watching this past the live stream has ended, try to answer us on or question us on social media. We'll be answering there all the time. So yeah, ask your questions there.
As a reminder, Wednesday cutoff for deferrals and transfers. After Wednesday, we're pretty much out like creating signs at the warehouse, getting trucks loaded, prepping for registration. So we're not in front of our computers as much as we are like today and tomorrow.
So yeah, thank you for tuning in. We wish you the best of luck. I know that.
For sure.
And
be safe.
Good weather.
Good weather.
Please.
All right. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you on Saturday.